You may have guessed, I'm not Taylor Zarzour. He is actually out this week. He's working the bowl circuit. He's the busiest man in sports. So while Taylor is out and he is covering all of those games, we are holding it down. But don't worry, because I've brought in the best reinforcements in all of football, and that is Rhett Bryan from Titans Radio.
Hello.
Hello. And Coach Mac. Hi.
Thanks for inviting me. You invited me after Rhett, but that's fine.
No, I invited you at the same time. It was a group text.
No, I don't
you
mind
just
playing
saw it
second fiddle to Rhett. I really don't.
I introduced Rhett because I like him better, but
I knew that. That's just what I said.
But also, it was a group text. You got it at the same time. You were both equally invited. All right, moving on. The Titans just played the Saints, and there's a lot to talk about with that. And also, we're getting ready to wrap up this season in Jacksonville against the Jags. That's always a fun matchup, and there's a lot of storylines going into that game. So we have plenty of things to talk about in this edition of Monday Night Titans. So I guess the best place to start is the Saints game. Did not go the way the Titans had hoped, but it was a very exciting game. Mac, when you think back on everything that transpired, what really sticks out in your mind?
Well, the fact that you could tell in the second half that the Titans were really having a hard time keeping up in space with their receivers. And we knew how depleted the secondary was. And also going into it, I mean, I study a lot of tape. Rhett and I, do a lot of research on it. And Tyler Shuck has been on a heater anyway. And again, it's not an excuse; it's a reality. If they had enough shots at you, especially with a really, really accomplished receiver like Chris Olave, they were going to hurt you. They were going to hurt you. So, to me, there were several moments in the game where the Titans had a chance to get enough score separation that they could put something between them and the Saints as to where they couldn't come back. But it didn't work out. And then, of course, the strip sack fumble really was the difference in the ball game as far as just point spread.
Yep. Rhett, was there anything that really stuck out to you about the matchup just overall?
Well, I think to piggyback off of Mac, the explosive plays. Now, the Titans, if my count is correct, had 5 of their 10 longest plays were X plays. And the problem with that is when they got into territory, they'd have a drive stall or whatever, and they'd have to rely on Joey Sly to kick it into that wind at Nissan Stadium, which he was very capable of doing. Only problem is that's 3 and not 7. And so there's part of it. The other, as Mac talked about, allowing X plays. And it wasn't just Chris Olave. In fact, they hadn't had much of a run game in the last month. They won 3 in a row coming into this ball game. Alvin Kamara has missed now 5 games with both knee and ankle injuries. And so if you look back at their previous game books, it was games where like Tyler Shuck was the leading rusher and it was 30 yards, or it was Taysom Hill. And so this was a game where they were able to establish and maintain a run game to get those scores and get those drives together, and also just eat up the clock. So Audric estimate he might have had the best game of his career so far, because he was originally a draft pick of the Broncos, and I don't remember if he ever flirted with a 100-yard game there. But he finished, I think, with 94 yards on the ground, and so that was a big part of it for me as well.
Yeah, basically, it was just the inability in the second half for the Titans defense to slow down New Orleans offense.
Well, and that's what's so frustrating, because in the first half of the game, it really felt like the Titans were doing a lot of the things that they set out to do. We saw the defense have a couple really good stops. I mean, two 3-and-outs, I think, in the first 3 possessions that the Saints had, which is really strong. And so you kind of felt like that was working. Then the offense is making some big plays. We're getting a little bit of point separation there because the Titans had some good scores and there were some big moments. But yeah, in the second half, it felt like a different team.
Well, because of all the things that Rhett said,
right?
And the thing that was very, very, and again, offensively, I mean, Cam Ward is a magician. He's a magician with some of the things he did. But when they got down to in the low red zone, it wasn't just the red zone plays, it was low red zone. They had to settle for field goals rather than punching a couple of those in. They punch a couple of those in, it's a different story.
I want to talk about the Cam Ward of it all a little bit because we did see him make some wild plays. His overall stat line, he had 21 completions on 40 attempts, 251 yards passing. He took 4 sacks, 2 touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, I should say. And then he also rushed twice for 10 yards. So overall, I mean, not statistically incredible, but man, some of the plays that we saw him, especially extending some of those plays when it looked like he was dead in the water and then was able to turn something into, turn nothing into something. That was
really glad you
incredible.
said that because, I mean, you can read stats off of a sheet, but the visuals of what he was doing was pretty incredible. And that you're 100% correct because some of those times, he was under pressure, but he never displayed the fact that he felt pressured. He was always looking downfield. I mean, the guy, he's taken every snap this year as a rookie quarterback in the National Football League. But you could just, if you've watched him from day one to day, whatever this is now that we're talking about it, you can see the growth. And plus, you feel like, I've been on teams like this before with a quarterback, when you felt like as long as he's got it in his hands, you got a chance. And that's what it felt like.
The thing that stuck out to me that I kept thinking during the game is regardless of stats and what's on paper, Cam Ward is never dead. Cam Ward's never dead.
That's true.
It takes a whistle to end it because no matter if there's 1, 2, 3 guys on top of him, he's going to do whatever he can to try and make a play until he physically cannot, until somebody stops the play.
Well, the point in fact was the fourth down play that was reviewed, and then they said his knee was down, which it was. It's the correct call. But just the fact that he was able to take it to that level and still had enough presence of mind to flick it out there, which looked like it was going to be a first down and give you another chance right at the end. I mean, you're right, Amie. He's never dead.
He's never dead.
He is the Music City Houdini.
Yeah, he really
That's what
is.
he is. And I think the interesting thing is we have already heard interim head coach Mike McCoy speak this week about the fine line of extending plays with your body and making off-schedule plays that, you can live and die by those things. And we saw some of that take place yesterday, but it also was against a Saints defense that is very good. That is one of the things that has helped them in this win streak they're currently in. I'm going to say the other part of it in the Cam Ward, just the body of work this year. And looking at his numbers, and Mac's right, numbers don't always speak everything, but he's 99 yards away from breaking Steve McNair's passing yardage the year that Steve McNair in 2003 was the co-MVP with Peyton Manning.
Wow.
Now, that tells you a couple things. The evolution of this game as passers in quarterbacks and how that is such a driving force. Because, it's nothing to have 4,000 and 5,000-yard passers. However, the Titans, in Titans history, never had a 4,000-yard passer. We know that, and Mac can tell you this all day long because he spent time there starting out his career. The Chicago Bears in their 106-year history have never had a 4,000-yard passer. Now, that's a different deal. That's a run game and defense.
Right.
But for him to be 99 yards away from that and being the most passing yardage by a rookie in franchise history, and technically they say second in franchise history because Warren Moon, but Warren Moon wasn't a rook. He was just new to the NFL. He won 5 Grey Cup championships when he came in.
Right.
And had a lot of big-time CFL moments under his belt. But just seeing those numbers, it's wild to think of that. And the other thing I'm thinking is, you know what? In the not-too-distant future, Cam Ward, as my grandmother would say, good Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, will be the Titans' first 4,000-yard passer.
Oh, yeah. I
don't see that not being a thing.
Well, and that just in totality, where this season went with all of these young rookie players, not only playing, it's different when rookies are playing spot play. These guys are starters. Mm-hmm. They are starters, and they've made a huge difference in this. And it was an exceptional draft class. Those guys that were able to stay healthy all year and contribute. So there's a lot to build on. But having a quarterback go through all of those trials and tribulations that he went through as a rookie with every snap, you can't purchase how important that is for him.
Well, you have to imagine that we will see the biggest dividends from that, the biggest payback from that when we get into OTAs and training camp before the 26th season. I mean, think about the fact that, Cam Ward will have had some time to rest, which he hasn't had time to do since the off season before the 2024 season when he was playing at Miami. And even then, I mean, you've got off season stuff. Then you play a whole college season where Miami did pretty well. And then, and then you have the off season where you're training for your pro day, you're training for the combine, you're training for everything else that you're doing. Then you get drafted, then there's OTAs, then there's minicamp, then there's the training camp. I mean, it just doesn't stop. So having time for him to rest, for him to process everything that he has been through, for him to have a frame of reference for what in the world he needs to work on and improve upon for 26, and already have the established chemistry, already have the established rhythm with so many of the guys on offense who are in the same boat that he is from a rest, recovery, ability, freshness standpoint. I mean, how valuable is all of that?
Well, the thing that you said that is spot on is he and all those rookie players that played with him understand the process.
Yeah.
Because you come into this league as a coach or as a player, your first time in it, you don't know whether it's pumped or stuffed.
Yep.
You really don't. And things happen at warp speed. That processing that you're talking about now and a frame of reference is massive.
Yeah. That's pretty much for anybody in the NFL. You think you know until you get here. No matter what you do, you think you know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know until you do it once, and then things get real.
Yeah, but that's why there's a foundation to build on here. There really is.
And I to further that point, I'm just thinking about the guys in year 2 and year 3, like Peter Skoronski.
Yeah.
In year 3.
Right.
Pretty doggone good, right?
Pretty doggone good
and
in year
then
3.
Cedric Gray comes back from missing a week in concussion protocol and has 12 tackles and has over 150 tackles now.
Can we talk about Cedric Gray? What a force in year 2.
Well, it's really year 1. And I keep telling that. keep saying that because I'm right.
Okay. Continue.
He is not a rookie, but he did miss the majority of his rookie season.
He missed 10 games.
To injury.
Well, not only 10 games, he missed the start of it. You talk about having a point of reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he when he hurt his shoulder in that practice and was out for all that time, he missed so much developmental time and developmental knowledge.
He's like a red shirt rookie.
Yes, I mean he's a first-year player, and the fact that he was able to step in once he was able to participate in practices and got healthy, you could just see him exponentially get better. I mean, I cut my teeth on linebackers in this league, and you could watch him and know, okay, this dude's got what it takes. He just needs now, as I always say, time on task to do it, and give him a lot of credit. Give him a lot of credit for that. Because, I mean, at the beginning of this season, he wasn't counted on to be a starter. He was not. Give him credit. Give Coach Frank Bush credit. The guy's a player, and that's something else to build on.
And seeing a guy like James Williams coming in for him last week, leading the team in tackles and having a quarterback sack that was nearly a safety, that's another guy in year 2. And then a guy that I've kind of just been keeping an eye on is Jalen Harrell, the 252nd pick of the 2024 draft in round 7. He started to build a case for himself to be a contributor. You're talking about a guy that prior to the trade deadline was just playing teams, doing his part. And you look after about week 7 or 8, I think he's had 10 straight games where he's had 25 snaps or more.
Wow. And
so some of that's designed by necessity after a trade of Draymond Jones and some other things like that. But I'm excited about rooks going into year 2, second-year guys into year 3, and so on and so forth. There's some things there that are that you can kind of hang your hat on.
Yeah, and again, I keep saying, and the phrase "time on task" is not just a phrase; it's reality in the National Football League.
Home is at the forefront of all we do.
It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. Genesis is the first and only official jeweler of the Titans, having earned that title since 2006. Titans players, coaches, and fans trust Genesis for the absolute best in selection, quality, customer service, and of course, value. For diamonds, engagement rings, designer fashion jewelry, and the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Tennessee, Genesis is the hands-down winner. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans. Little Caesars is the official pizza partner of your Tennessee Titans. Download the Little Caesars app and get your favorites delivered today. Delivery fees apply. Now back to the OTP. Mac, you brought up that you are a bit of a linebacker guru, you know, given your history in the national. Given
he's also
your
right
history
about it too.
in the
He's
National
right.
Football League, and whatever he says, he's right.
It may be the biggest compliment I've ever had in all my seasons in the bit of a linebacker guru.
Well, you know, I don't want you to get a big head. But I do want to talk about the Titans linebackers group because overall we've seen throughout the course of the season, we've seen some big play from those guys. Cedric Gray, we touched on a little bit. Cody Barton has been such a great addition to this team as well. What has stood out to you about his play, not only in what he's been able to accomplish on the field, but how he's been as a leader within the group of linebackers?
Well, within this group, I mean, he was a veteran player, and it was a really good free agent signing. But when he was brought in here, what that group really needed, and again, you always in that group, it's not only for the group, but it's for the defense in totality. You need somebody to run the show. You need somebody to be able to run the show, and you need somebody that people are able to depend on. That when they say something during the course of the ball game, that everybody will follow in line. Well, he's a veteran player. He's extremely smart, and he reminds me of he reminds me a whole lot of the guy that I coached here. That was a linebacker coach at the Saints this weekend. Is Peter Sermon. Mm-hmm. You know, here's a guy that's just a very smart player. That's a good player physically, but also people trusted him. And if you'll go back to our good friend Keith Bullock, he will tell you that coming up, that was the guy he trusted to get him set up and lined up, and all of a sudden progress his career as to where he could be a signal caller sooner or later. That's what Cody Barton's done.
Well, and you need a guy like that in a linebacker's room that has a lot of young guys who are being asked to contribute, right, Rhett?
Yes, and it also speaks to Cody Barton's leadership ability, because you're talking about a guy that he hadn't stayed in one too many spots very long himself. And just in some conversations with him this year, you know, he was still learning this defense. But he knew that he had to lead by word, lead by example, all those kinds of things. And he just happened to have a little more tenure under his belt before he came here. So that's the part about this I think is the interesting dynamic. And I go back to what Coach Mack has already said in this hour. Frank Bush deserves a lot of credit for making that unit cohesive, working together, working in that second level as nicely as they have done.
Absolutely. And in talking to Cody Barton, one of the things that he said was so appealing to him about coming to the Tennessee Titans, because of course you get offers from other people and everything during free agency, was the opportunity to really build something within a defense. It wasn't just about how he would be able to contribute, but it was about the leadership opportunities. It was about being someone who could get in almost on the ground floor of a new project and really build up that foundation. And it seems like he's really done that.
Well, he's a professional, and he's got a professional approach to it. And what Rhett said is true. To come in like that from the outside and immediately to have your teammates. Now, this was a young team. But you can tell that they respect him. You know, Jeffrey Simmons respects him. I mean, and respect in the National Football League locker room is huge. It really is. But you don't get it just by credentials that you bring in. You get it by what you do every day. And he's a pro.
Can we talk about the secondary of it all a little bit? Because it's just been brutal back there in terms of injuries. We saw Jalen Armour-Davis go down this past Sunday. with an Achilles injury. That's just not something you want to see. Marcus Harris was put on IR last week. That's not something you want to see. Mac, what do you do as a coach, as anybody? What do you do?
You do exactly what they're doing. I mean, you try to you scour the practice squads, and you bring in somebody that you've got a report on that you think might be able to help you, but it's hard. And because of the space game in the National Football League, I mean, we witnessed it. That stuff, that back there, first of all, it takes skill back there, because that's hard position. But it also takes some cohesiveness, and they've not been able to have any cohesiveness. Not anybody's fault, but the fault is attrition. And that's just the truth of it, and it's just very, very hard, and to me, it's first of all, there's a lot that it puts on the player coming in to be able to catch up, not only to catch up with a new environment, but catch up with what you're doing in 4 days in a game plan, and also it puts a lot of stress on the coaches, because I've done it before. I mean, I've had corners that I've had to bring in and flip sides of the field during quarters so I could tell them do what they were doing. I mean, that is in this league, especially with what happens with offenses in the space game. You've got to have cohesion back there, and you need some first line ability. And when people are hurt, you just can't have that.
Yeah.
To Mac's point, as you're saying that, I'm thinking this puts a lot of pressure on Denard Wilson. It puts a lot of pressure on Steve Jackson, the secondary coach. All these guys are back there helping that level. And I'll go a step further. It puts pressure on Amani Hooker, the lone vet back there,
what I was thinking,
trying to do his thing, because in his mind, he's going down the tightrope of, okay, I have to do what I need to do, and I don't need to take my eye off the ball, but I also need to make sure my guys are lined up where they're supposed to be by the looks that were shown. So there's a balancing act there.
Well, and it's not only schematically, it's just sooner or later back there in the back end, physically, you're going to have to be able to match up. You're going to have to be able to match up speed-wise. That's the difference back there, because the closer you move to the line of scrimmage, then as far as what happens to you, it happens quicker, but there's not the ramifications of playing in space back there, because sooner or later you're going to be one-on-one, and one-on-one in this league back there is a scary proposition, and I'm going to tell you why. All the rules bend towards the offense on that. That's just the league we live in, and the National Football League is a predator type of situation, as far as if you see somebody hurt, you're going after them.
Yeah,
you're going after them, and that's just what happens.
It's you're one-on-one in open water.
You're one-on-one in an open water, and then if you touch them, then a flag comes out.
Yep.
It's a hard position to play. That's why there's such a premium on those dudes. And to your point when we started this discussion, what do? You try to cobble it together as best as you can. And it not only puts pressure on those people back there, but to Rhett's point, it puts pressure on the people up front now. Now all of a sudden there's pressure to get pressure on the quarterback. There's pressure on the linebacker. I mean, you just need to keep your people healthy.
Yeah. That would
kind of
fix
important,
it.
isn't it?
That would fix all of our problems.
Yeah.
If everyone could just stay healthy, Mac just solved it. The end. I guess we're done here.
Yeah, well, that's because I'm sort of a linebacker guru.
Yeah, turn off the show a bit. I said a bit of a linebacker guru.
A bit. That sounds better.
I said. I was trying to be nice. I won't do it anymore.
No, you really weren't.
Rhett remains my favorite.
You were really saying what you meant.
I guess I was. The Titans are getting ready to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is always a fun game because the two teams don't really like each other so much, and I love a good rivalry, and I know you guys do too. But this one could have some additional ramifications for the Jags, right? This isn't a throwaway game for Jacksonville by any stretch of the imagination. And Rhett, that's going to make it quite a challenge in sunny Florida, right?
It is. They beat the Colts in Indianapolis on Sunday, 23-17 final score. And they are playing for something called the number one seed in the AFC, which means a first-round bye and all of those kinds of things and home field advantage for as long as you win at home and all those good things. It's a huge deal because Houston still has a say in this. And if things go one way or the other, Houston could end up winning the division because of the tiebreaker there. But yeah, so Jacksonville is 12-4, first place in the AFC South division, and they may be the hottest team in the league right now. They've been pretty doggone good all year, but they're riding a 7-game win streak. And one of the big reasons why is the continued elevated play of their former number 1 overall pick and quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. I'm a firm believer that, at least in 2025, that Liam Cohen, the head coach in his first year, has unlocked some of the best attributes of this young man's play. He did have 1 pick yesterday, but he has only had 1 turnover in the last 5 games of this 7-game win streak. And that has been one of the things on him is ball security. A lot of fumbles, those things. It happened back in college. 3,752 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 60% completion percentage, been sacked 39 times. The thing that he did yesterday in Lucas Oil Stadium, though, is that he used his legs. 26 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. That was the difference in this thing. So he's been elusive in that part of it, but he's got some good players around him. I find it interesting that as we get to this last week of the regular season, that Parker Washington is the actual leading receiver on this team with 53 catches for 760 and 4 scores, not Bryan Thomas Jr., who's had kind of a sophomore issue. The defense is just as good as it was. I mean, you think about the first matchup in Week 13 at Nissan Stadium, it was a 23 to 5?
25 to 3.
25 to 3. I got my numbers transposed. I'm not a math major. You can tell that already.
That's okay. I have it right here.
And it's still led by those big guys up front. I mean, Josh Hines-Allen, 76 quarterback pressures right now, 8 quarterback sacks. He sacked Cam Ward twice that day. They had 3 total. Eric Armstead, 34 pressures himself. Foye Oluokun is their Cedric Gray, 134 tackles. He's been a tackling machine ever since they picked him up in free agency from Atlanta. That defense, 94.8 yards per game on the ground allowed, 177 through the air, and they can force turnovers. This is a team that is, again, at home with so much on the line, riding a 7-game win streak. The place will be very loud. And this is where the Titans have to make hay where they can and make as few mistakes as possible.
Well, they're the most complete team right now in the AFC South. Because, and especially since the quarterback got hurt at Indy. Indy was on a heater till they lost their quarterback. And when you start losing your people, it makes a huge difference. I mean, the helmet may look the same, but it's different when you lose your people. But they're the most complete team. And what they've done, and again, Trevor Lawrence is a great example of a number 1 overall pick that has had 4 different offensive coordinators. You talk about time on task. Right. But the ability has always been there, And Rhett's right. I mean, first of all, that thing was foundationally built on a defense. And their defense has kept them alive until, they've got the quarterback working. And he's right. I mean, he lost, some of his top receivers, but the totality of that team, as I say, they're the most complete team in the AFC South, and they've got everything in the world to play for. I've been involved with teams like that where this week they will be hyper-focused on the Titans because they've got an opportunity to do something that they haven't done there in a while. And plus, I mean, there's a little bit of sandpaper between these two organizations.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I've been involved in it. All 3 of us have. There's some sandpaper there. So anyway, this is a huge, huge challenge, for a Titans team right now that is clearly, not at full strength against an opponent that's playing for everything that is pretty much at full strength.
Yeah, and it's interesting what Rhett says about how loud it's going to be, how crazy that environment's going to be. Jacksonville, we've gone a couple times, and people are there, but they're not super into it. They are fired up about the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, Florida, right now.
Well, sure they are.
It is the talk of the town.
Look, we've been down there in the past when the best thing that was going on was what was happening in the pool.
Yeah. Those were weird times, yeah.
Now, what's going on down there now?
It's
on the
between the
field
hashes.
is most important. And you're right. I mean, it's a big deal.
It's going to be a
as
tough
to where they are.
environment.
And that's the ebbs and flows of the National Football League.
And to your point about the sandpaper, there's no one they'd like to see crushed and get a 13th win and earn a first round bye and the number 1 seed than to do it against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. They enjoy beating the Tennessee Titans, and I think would enjoy even more seeing the way that the Titans have continued to show improvement over these last couple weeks. Even what happened with the Saints, there was still a lot of bright spots, a lot of signs of improvement. We've seen the growth over the last few weeks with this team, and it feels as though there's a lot of good heading into that. The Jags would like nothing more than to destroy that.
Yeah, the Jags
make you feel very sad.
don't care about anything good that's going on with the Titans. They just don't. Just like during those years when the Titans were dominating, we could care less what was going on with somebody else. But
I cared if it was bad.
the script, the script is
Oh,
flipped.
the pettiness. The other part of this, too, is offensively, one thing I left out, they've been able to run the football. Travis Etienne's had a very nice year. The rookie, Bashal Tootin, who was shelved last week with an injury, both of those guys have worked very well in tandem and can catch the ball out of the backfield. They've got a dynamic there that I think has helped offset some of the wide receiver type issues that they've had. And then Brenton Strange has emerged as the top tight end since Evan Ingram departed a while back. So they've got weapons at the disposal. The big one is the run game is huge, and then what Trevor Lawrence does, because he's had a very nice year.
Yeah, well, as I say, to me right now, at this point in time, they probably weren't at the beginning of the year in the AFC South. They're the most complete team right now going into playoff season for the AFC South.
I guess the real question now is, are either of you going to throw hands with a Jags player? Because I'm not going to be there to do it, as I have in previous years.
We can't engage in that stuff unless you're there, because you're like the leader of the Jets.
Correct.
And you're like
the backup.
You're like the gang, in West Side Story.
Correct.
You're the leader, and when you start fighting, everybody does. I've seen you start fights before on the field. So,
for those who aren't familiar with this story, I did not actually get in a fight with a
that's a lie.
Jacksonville Jaguars player.
That's a lie.
Casey,
No, stop it. You started the fight. Jarell Casey was trying to calm things down, and you went in there and pushed him into a fight
That's not
on
true.
the field here at Nissan Stadium. I saw it. I saw it from upstairs. I saw it. So just go ahead. Tell the people what you want on this program. I saw it.
What actually happened is the Tennessee Titans had just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars at Nissan Stadium. I was about to do an interview with Jarell Casey for the big boards, like they do the post-game interview. And I'm waiting.
Which is why you started the fight.
I'm like, I've got Jarell here. He had been exchanging words with somebody for the entirety of the game, and I don't remember who it was now. I'll have to look at the picture because we have photographic evidence, of course. But they continued to exchange words while Jarell was waiting for this interview to start, and then it got a little more than words. It got a little physical, and they start fighting, and I'm just standing there, and I didn't step away because I enjoy a good fight every now and then. So
Ringside seat in this one.
So I'm just standing there taking it in, but it looked like I was involved.
You were involved because I saw you. Here's what you did. Here's Jarell. And you're going like this, pushing.
No, I was not pushing.
You're pushing him forward. And then after the game, I said, "What were you doing, Amie?" She said, "I just wanted to be sure that if he got into a fight, he won."
No, I was just standing there. But then on Wednesday at practice, Brian Arakpo, in his big Brian Arakpo voice, applauded me for hanging in there.
Yes, he did.
And for being in the action. And then I felt very big and mighty. And I felt very impressive.
You were around all those sequoia trees.
Yeah.
He saw the same thing I did.
He saw it. He knows. He knows what's up.
It's like she's out there in the Pacific Northwest in those sequoia trees, and she's right there in the middle of them. They're just banging against each other, fighting.
I just let it happen.
She was like Mick in Rocky, where he was standing there just egging him on.
Well, that's not true, but it is one of my favorite stories, and I try to tell it every year around a matchup with the Jags because it just never gets old to me.
Hey, football fans, satisfy your halftime hunger with Snickers, and you could win sweet prizes this NFL season. Visit snickers.com/halftime to enter and view the official rules. Pick up Snickers at a Kroger near you.
When you bring Hellman's Creamy Buffalo Chicken Dip to the watch party, you can cheer too loud, or block the TV, or be a couch coach, and no one will eject you from the game. That's a Hail Mayo. Hellman's, the official mayo of the Tennessee Titans.
Titans fans, SeatGeek is the official primary ticketing partner of Tighten Up and here to help you experience all the action this season. SeatGeek makes it easy to find the perfect seats to the perfect game so you can be part of all the touchdown celebrations and momentum-shifting takeaways this season. Whether you're getting tickets to Titans games or to any live event in Nashville, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official primary ticketing partner of the Tennessee Titans.
Hey Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, the official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up. We're all getting ready for the Titans to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are excited about the upcoming matchup. And so let's talk some matchups. I love some matchup conversation. Rhett took us through a preview of kind of what the Jags are working with here. Rhett, I'm going to start with you. Cam Ward, what is the matchup that he should be preparing for the most this week? I'm sorry. Not this season.
Just keeping those big dudes away. Josh Hines-Allen, as we've talked about this hour, sacked him twice back in Week 13 at Nissan Stadium. And so he and Eric Armstead, there's a host of guys that kind of make that happen up front. But Trayvon Walker is one, Devon Hamilton's another. But Josh Hines-Allen is probably the number one he needs to make sure he stays away from. And look, over the last month, Cam has done a good job in quicker releases. He had a little step back in that on Sunday against the Saints in some spots. But I think the quick release is a big part of it. And then the thing that has really been the difference maker in all of this over the last month is, can you get Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears rolling in the run game? Because that is an effective diffuser of pass rush if you can kind of establish some of those things.
Yeah, well, that's look. This is a really, really good defense, and that's and it's not just Cam Ward against them. The whole offensive unit has got to do their part because they're going to bring heat. When I study tape and during the broadcast when I say, look, here's where they're going to bring heat, I know what I'm talking about, and they're not going to back off of this. Earlier in this program, you talked about the importance of this game for them. This is in their mind right now, and so there's going to be a lot of heat on this offensive unit. The other thing that has to happen is if you progress the football against this team, you got to score touchdowns in the low red zone. You cannot rely. This is not going to be a field goal game. It's just not going to be because of the way of the heater that their offense is on in Jacksonville. So you've got to do a much better job. You're getting it down to the red zone, like what's happened, but you got to score touchdowns in the red zone.
So what's the key? What is the barrier to the Titans? Obviously, they are able to move the football. They're able to get to the red zone. What's the barrier there?
Well, it just depends on what teams' defenses are doing. But sooner or later, and again, it goes back to what I'm talking. You've got to win your one-on-ones. You've got to win your one-on-ones. You got to win your one-on. Sooner or later, it gets down to bone-on-bone. It's bone-on-bone up front, and then you've got to be able to separate in the back end. That's important.
The other thing, just thinking about this, and some of the reasons why there's been a barrier there is some self-inflicted things. We've had moments where there's been, pre-snap penalties and those things get them, even after they had, had a potential first down, and it brought the ball backwards. The Jags defense has really amped up their sure tackling. They missed 2 tackles against the Colts on Sunday.
Wow.
And so I think that was the fewest yards allowed they're starting to tune this thing up. So that's the thing that is going to be the answer on the defensive side of this for the Titans is tackling got you in trouble against the Saints. You got to shore up the tackling however you can.
What's it going to take for the Titans to really establish a solid run game? Because we see them have success when the run game is really firing on all cylinders.
Everybody has to. It gets down to individual matchups, man on man. Everybody has to move their person. When they've had success running the football as a group, they've established the line of scrimmage on the defensive side. They've moved them. When they have not done that, then they have not been able to get any traction. I mean, and so what they've got to do is you got to win your one-on-ones. When I say bone on bone, I'm talking about one-on-one matchups. That's the National Football League.
That's why they always say it takes 11 to make that happen. It's everybody doing their part. And if, heaven forbid, somebody flinches at the line or they're in a legal shift or any of those things, that kind of sets you back, behind the 8 ball, so to speak.
Well, again, it comes down to matchups too, because as we sit here talking about it, I promise you, when you're in the film room, you're looking and you're getting matchups and saying, here's the soft spot, here's what we've got to go after. That works on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and so you can't be the soft spot. I mean, that just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, the Titans are getting ready to take on the Jags, and we've got one more segment on the other side of this break. Now the Tennessee Titans are taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Kickoff for that game is noon Central Time. Titans Radio goes on the air at 11 a.m. Titans Countdown is always a good time. Rhett will be there. Mac will be there. I will be there. And then Mac and Taylor Zarzour will have the call. Lucas Panzica will also be there, as well as covered. Will Bowling and everybody else. So whole crew, gang will all be there. In the final minutes of this game, this show, whatever this is we're doing.
We're running 4-minute offense here.
Really enjoy having you guys together as we approach the end of the season. Do you have any memories of this season that you want to relive or moments that bring you joy? Maybe fights you've been in, as that's been a theme of the
maybe fights you've been in.
That's been a theme of the show.
When you go through a season like this, the fact of the matter is, in this league, regardless of whether you're winning or losing, you still do a lot of work.
Yeah.
You work and you work, and then I mean, the rewards. How many times have we talked about this? The rewards are not money. The rewards are winning games. And when you don't have many wins, then you really dig in and try to. And you can't work harder. Because, I mean, this is a 24/7 gig. I mean, it really is. I mean, people aren't in it, don't realize it. But the thing that I take away from it is we've always done it very, very professionally with Titans Radio. And that's extremely, extremely important because you can't cut any corners. Regardless of what's happening on the field, in a broadcast and in preparation, you can't cut any corners. And that's the way I was raised in this league, and those are the things that I remember. And then plus, when you've got very few wins to celebrate, when you do win, it's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, and there's moments through it when you can see. And the thing that I enjoyed the most about this year is you could see the growth of these young players. Mm-hmm. Because, as a lifetime coach in this league, I know how important development of players is. And then when you can visually see it week after week, then you've got a chance for something good to happen eventually.
I would start with the very first win of the season and how crazy that was in Arizona. That was a wild time out in the desert. Most recently, the James Williams block punt.
Yeah.
And just what that means with the tie to Tim Shaw, Titan for life, and all of those. I have a really soft place in my heart for Tim Shaw, and I really like James Williams and kind of seeing his game grow throughout this, and just what that special teams phase has done. I mean, Chim DK is a rookie starter as a returner for the AFC in the Pro Bowl, and he set a new NFL record on Sunday. I mean, this is a record previously held by Tim Brown, Hall of Famer from the Raiders, for all-purpose yardage by a rookie. He has 2,317 yards with 1 game to go. So there's a chance that record stays his for a while.
Yep.
But just to see all of these guys kind of grow up together, and yeah, the wins were few, but the memories are still quite a few. There's plenty of those, and that's what we don't need to get lost on is too many of the bad things. There are places to improve and learning moments, but it's wild to think that it's all coming down to Sunday in Jacksonville, and then that book is closed on 2025, and there's a whole lot of things to talk about in 2026.
Absolutely. It happens so fast. It feels like it's the longest, shortest year, and that's always how it feels with football season. It lasts forever and also is gone in the blink of an eye.
Well, that's the way the National Football League is.
It's
I mean, this
crazy.
is, my 39th straight year in it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember the first game I was ever in, just like I remember the last one we do.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Oh, what an awesome thing we get to do every single week.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for filling in today. It was lovely to spend some time chatting with you. Always a blast when you are here.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here, even though I'm second to Rhett. I mean, you've told me that, so we're fine.
And we didn't have any fights with players, so there's that.
Well, I mean, and we don't have any fights with players only because it's a Victory Monday and we couldn't get them here. And not a Victory Monday. It's a regular Monday.
It is a
And we
regular
couldn't
Monday.
get them here. And you are still my second favorite.
Second favorite.
Yep. Thanks,
I know
Mac.
that. I've been second favorite all my life, so that's good.
For Rhett, Bryan, and our second favorite, Coach Mac, I'm Amie Wells.
This has been the OTP.